Welcome to Vegas Circle with Paki and Chris. And today, joining the circle with us, we're excited to have this artist, writer, and producer. He's the founder and CEO of H3 Enterprise, also known as Healthy Hiphop, which is an education tech platform that creates a fun learning environment in the classroom. So we're excited to have Mr. Roy Scott, man. Good to see you, brother.
I appreciate you, man. Glad to be here, man. Love what y'all doing. So honored to be in the building.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's funny, man. I was telling Chris, I found Healthy Hip Hop just messing around with my kids a couple months back. I was just really impressed, man, with the positive impact you're making on the kids and just kind of tweaking it with the hip hop, and the beats was fire and the whole nine. But before we get into that, man, you originally from the Midwest, from my understanding, and you got your start in the music industry way back in the day. So can you kind of discuss with our listeners about what you got started with?
I was always, as a kid, just in love with hip hop culture. So fresh out of high school, I dropped my first album in 1999. I'm an old head, so 1999, right when I graduated. And I was in the streets of Kansas City, and, just was kind of on the wrong side of the tracks, trying to be like on the gangster rap side, and I was just hanging in the wrong circle. So, but anyway, saying that to say, released my first album, and then was kind of like Master P, just selling my CDs out the trunk. And so that's when I really got my first kind of taste of like entrepreneurship, and like my guys around me, they was hustling, like hustling the dope and different stuff like that. But for me, that really wasn't my thing. I was hustling the CDs. That's how I was making my money. So that kind of started my like love for entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurial spirit, but also and that fueled my just love and passion for music.
Yeah.
I was always curious. We all love music, right? I don't think I've ever met somebody who doesn't like it. But how do you transition to being a person who wants to create music? That's one thing that I always seen as like there's such a barrier between the two, enjoying and creating,
Yeah.
And how do you kind of find yourself transitioning from that enjoyment to creating music?
Well, I think one of the good things that I had going is, because my pops, he really wasn't super active in my life, but from what he did show me, he was a musician. So he played the bass, he was doing shows, he was doing different stuff like that. So I was seeing that. The times we would connect, it would be like I would go with him to the studios and doing stuff like that. So I was seeing that, and it would be like keyboards, like an XP90 or XP80 or something like that, like these rolling keyboards and different stuff. And I would just get on it and start messing with it. So for me, I had the opportunity, to kind of play with it and get my feet wet. So I started enjoying. I was seeing the process of how to record and how to produce your own music, your own beats and stuff. I couldn't necessarily play, but I could still, I could make a dope beat. So that's what kind of introduced me to it. And I was just seeing that process. So that's what really, for me, I was always really curious. And once I was figuring that process out, then it was just starting to do it. And just like anything else, once I practiced more and more and got better at it, my craft just started, I started fine tuning it. And then even everything from like, hey, recording the music now, because again, 1999, this was when CDs was out, and in Kansas City, like Kansas City's an amazing city, love my city, but it's like it's a little bit behind it, we behind. So like what's happening on the East Coast, West Coast, down South, we kind of get it last, and so 1999, when a whole bunch of cats putting out CDs. So I'm 18, straight out of high school. I was probably one of like maybe I want to say 10 artists or 10 groups that put out a CD. So anyway, that's how I kind of, my transition of, hey, I love the music. And then, me and my homies, just like anybody else, we have ciphers. I was talking to my guys earlier, one of my business partners earlier about this, like back in the day when we really had real ciphers, like it was freestyling. Like, I don't see too much of that no more nowadays. Like if it's a cipher, it's most lifetimes it's written, right? So they come in, they already got their bars, written. Yeah. We was freestyling for ours. And so it was like real, just off the top. So I was doing that, but then again, seeing that process, and I was like, okay, this is how I'm gonna get on the CD. So I was one of the first cats out of KC. I'm 18 years old, with my own CD.
It's powerful you say that, man, because I'm a lyricist too, man. We about the same age, because I graduated in 98. So I'm with you right now, man. I'm originally from Chicago. So Chris is from the Detroit area. So
you said you were a lyricist? I never heard you.
No. I said I like I don't even want to put myself in the lane and embarrass myself.
Okay, you got me thrown off. I'm like, wait, you're hiding this back when
you got the boys on the low.
I like the lyrics for sure. I can't rap.
Okay.
But you know what though? I was paying attention to the lyrics, man. I was listening to your new album that just dropped, Legacy. It's very strategic. You got words. It means something. You're not just throwing stuff out. And it's probably something that I can ride to with my kids. When I saw you connected with Steve Stout with United Masters, huh?
Yeah, so I haven't connected directly with him. I'm in some of the circles, but basically what Steve Stout did with United Masters is really smart, and again on the entrepreneurship side and the innovation side when it came like the music business, because they basically created a platform where, you know, how you can get your music out on all other streaming platforms like Spotify's, and you know, it's a whole bunch of them out there right now. But they created their platform where it's more like favorable for the artist. So for example, like if you release a CD or release a tape or streaming music now on a streaming platform, you release an album, you know, you'll pay a CD Baby, a TuneCore, whoever that is, to distribute your stuff to all these platforms. And you'd have to pay each and every time you do that. So they kind of created something that's more artist friendly, where you pay like one time. And then they also give you like additional like opportunities. For example, like you can submit music for like an ESPN playlist or something for 2K, because they have those direct relationships built in. So that's what Steve Stout has done. So I haven't worked with him directly, but I'm in some of the circles they're in. And that's why I wanted to support what they were doing. Just because I thought it was a dope idea, and I'm all, you know, I want to support innovators, especially when you talk about in the music industry, because there's such a like a gap, there's a divide when it comes to like, you know, tech and the music industry. And so that's why you see like right now who's really winning, like Spotify, Apple Music. You know, artists are gonna get 0.0056 cents, you know, per spin. You spin 1 million times, and that equates to like $4,000. So, you know, the game has changed. So that's why I wanted to support United Masters and what they were doing.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense too. I mean, with being an independent artist and you want to be able to own it too. I know that's a big thing, is being able to own your own music, be able to own your own masters, which makes a lot of sense. And then with the connection with branding, man. And I know you guys have done a great job with Healthy Hip Hop. What made you want to start like a software company? It would be considered like a tech company, right? Or a software company, because it's an app online.
Absolutely. So our app is currently live. It's live on iOS and on Android. And we have basically a website or online platform that educators do use. The app is more for like home with the parents and kids, and the web is more for the classroom. But yeah, so really just kind of it evolved into that, because when I first got into Healthy Hip Hop, the business, and kind of what sparked that was just what you were saying. Well, I'm glad you said that. Like you said, this is the music I rock to my kids with, even though that's the legacy project, but it's still, everything I do represents like Healthy Hip Hop. It's still like the beat is hard, like you said, but the message is clean and clear. Yeah. And so, but I was about 25 at the time when my son started repeating my music. I picked him up from school one day. No, he was like 4, so I was like had 26, 27. I was picking him up from school. He was repeating my music. You know, I looked in the back seat, like, oh, look, saying all the. And so I seen that.
Like stop immediately.
I seen that, and at that time I was really deep in. I was deep into my Mac James is my rap. Now I was deep into that, and I just seen him. That was my light bulb moment. I was like, you know, I can't be this kind of influence on my son or anybody else for that matter. And so I initially gave up music, but then I was like, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it for kids. So that's when Healthy Hip Hop was born, where I'm gonna take this same beat, I'm gonna put a positive message over it. I'm gonna keep it to where it's still like, you know, the beat's still dope. Because we think about kids' music for the most part, a lot of the times, you know, it's corny, it's a little watered down.
That's true. That's very true.
Baby Shark, but you can't not Baby Shark, because that's like the most spin like YouTube. Like, it's got like 8 billion spins on YouTube. So I'm definitely not hating on it. I'm just saying, but it's still like, I don't want to hear Baby Shark ever again in my life.
We all know the lyrics too. That's the worst part.
Exactly. So that was kind of the edge, was our music was still hard, but it was for kids. So they was like, and it's Wheels on a Bus. Like Wheels on a Bus is going like stupid ridiculous. And so started with primarily us. I had CDs. So I was thinking the same thing. Like, so this was around 2009-ish when I put out the first, 2009, 2010, when I put out that first project for kids called Listen and Learn. And so I was thinking the same thing. I'm gonna flip these CDs and I you know, sell these CDs, and ended up selling CDs and going to schools, doing like performances at schools. And that really picked up. We did over 1,500 live events. As it went from schools, then it went to like organizations. We did Lebron James Family Foundation, performed at his event in Akron, Ohio. We performed for the NFL, MLB. So it just kind of started growing on that end. And then we wanted to be an iconic children's brand. We always said we wanted to be the Sesame Street of the 21st century. Now what we're saying is we want to be the urban Disney. But we basically wanted to be this iconic children's brand. And we said, okay, let's put together this kids' TV show. So we started building different facets out, some curriculum and stuff like that. And as we started raising capital and stuff for that and started trying to get that off the ground, I was just paying attention to what was going on in the industry. I mean, it didn't matter what industry it was, whoever was building the software and the technology, they were the ones that were winning. So if it was the automotive industry, it was Uber, it was Lyft, it was Turo. If it's the film industry, it's Netflix, Hulu, etc. I mean, you can go on in each industry. Whoever was creating the innovative software, of course, there were the giants you knew about, but then there's also some just lifestyle companies who were making hundreds of thousands or millions a year. And so I was like, we got to create some tech to really scale what we're doing. And so that was around 2016. So it was about 6 years in that I said, we're going to make the pivot to create an app and to create this online platform. So now we can scale what we're doing. And then that's when I started the whole journey of, becoming a tech entrepreneur and just learning that. It's been a hard learning curve, going through a lot of programs, accelerators, winning pitch competitions and stuff like that to really get the funds we need and get this completely off the ground.
I've seen a lot of stuff you're doing, man. When I was doing my research on you, man, I mean, you guys have done case studies, which I thought was very interesting, because I mean, like Chris said earlier, I mean, music is everything. I mean, music's life. That's how I start my day. You know what I mean? You got to listen to music, get in your spirit or whatever it is. But, what I noticed about the case studies is that, when you're in class, especially not private school, but just your regular school, is that, I know you've talked about it on different platforms. It's like, it might take them 4 to 5 minutes, for the teachers to kind of settle the kids down and get them locked in. Whereas you bringing in your music, it catches them immediately in that 10 to 13, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever it is. And that's what I first saw, because when I played it for my kids, my oldest was like, yo, Pops, what's that? Like, what are you listening to? And that's what caught my attention to reach out to you, man. I said, man, okay. So can you talk a little bit about that, about, how the impact of being able to connect music to kids and how you've been able to use it in the actual classroom?
Absolutely. So again, like you said, we know just, first of all, music is like a universal language. So it's, it connects us all backgrounds, all walks of life, all socioeconomic backgrounds. It's just music connects us. But then there's also, there is some deeper, connectivity and research that shows how music can impact mood, behavior, focus, retention. So if you think about it, you probably think about a song you heard, like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. You probably heard that at 3 years old, right? If they come on right now, you could probably spit Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right?
Consciously, it's in your mind. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So some of those studies, there was already some of that out there, and we knew basically to really prove our social impact and also to put us in a better position business-wise to go out and raise funding and do different things to make sure we can get the program executed. We had to get some research and data behind it. And so that's when some of it just honestly happened organically, because we weren't thinking out the gate like this is going to be an educational play, but teachers just were using it. And that's where, like, man, we love healthy hip hop. This is how we've been able to implement it. And again, that's when we made that pivot to the tech side, we were talking to a lot of these teachers and talking to a lot of the parents who loved us and seeing, okay, what can we build that is going to, meet their needs, that is going to help us. So now, instead of a physical CD or DVD, we have something that any teacher or any parent can pull up anywhere and just, put on. But our research was critical out the gate. We're actually doing a little bit deeper dive on this next case study coming up for next year. We're working with a group called Lean Lab Education. We're also working with Cox Media here out of Atlanta, and to really kind of get a further, like a deeper grab on some of this data. But some of the data we've already been able to grab has just been able to show how we've been able to improve focus time, engagement, and also even some behavior, like kids are just tightening up if they know that they're going to get this opportunity to do healthy hip hop and things along those lines.
One thing I'm curious about, it's kind of like an untapped market, right? Bringing hip hop to the kids genre. And it's, it seems to me, and I'm not super involved in the industry, but it seems like the majority of it is like pop centric, where you're kind of these show tunes, not very, deeper involved. And, with the almost, and I don't want to come across wrong here, but the historical nature of hip hop being a more, violent or drug dealing type of environment, how hard, what has been like the pushback that you've gotten trying to bring hip hop to that? Has there been any, or has that been pretty seamless kind of transition?
Yeah, you're right. So essentially we're creating a new genre. So healthy hip hop is like a new genre.
Exactly. Yeah.
For kids and families. And so again, what you're saying is 100%. Because so imagine like that, my transition. So I'm coming out of like gangster rap, and then like I'm doing like I'm coming out doing the kids rap. So a lot of my homies, you know, was like, man, what is this? Like,
I can't even imagine. That's all I was gonna ask you.
yeah, you're a kids rapper now, like, you know. Hey, I had the vision from the beginning. Like I knew, like I'm a spiritual man too. Like I knew what God had put in my heart, and what I was like, listen, I know what I'm about to do. Like, and people laughed at it, but once they heard the music, they was like, man, the music is dope, and my kids love it, and so they really couldn't knock it. But really, what we would like to do is essentially take hip hop back to its roots, but still keep it culturally relevant with today's sound, today's energy, and today's, you know, swag. Because if you think about the roots of hip hop when it was born in the 70s in New York, it was really to unify people, because, you know, there was a lot of poverty, a lot of drug, you know, gangs, violence, stuff like that. So hip hop was like the tool to bring communities together. You know, they were breakdancing, you know, they were expressing themselves, you know, the graffiti, different things like that, the 5 elements of hip hop. It was more of like a unifying tool. And even some of the original content, you know, if you think about self-destruction, if you think about, you know, if you're going way back even to Sugar Hill Gang, etc., like a lot of the content was more just uplifting. It was more, you know, it was more like conscious and positive. So we want to take it back to its roots and as a unifying tool and create this like family experience, but still keep it relevant. So it's not like, you know, kids know, they hear that and be like, man, that shit sound like it was trash. We ain't rocking with that. So now we got the sound that sound like today's music, but it's clean cut, and it's all about uplifting children and connecting families.
I absolutely love it, man. I love what you're doing. And I can't let you pass up on this too, man, because you're on the radar, man. And for our listeners, you guys got the Google Black Founders Fun Award, from my understanding. So you're on Google's radar, which is extremely powerful. Talk a little bit about that, on how you guys were able to connect with them and get that award.
Absolutely. Appreciate you all being flexible with me. And that was the double booking I had earlier where I had
for sure.
Appreciate you on that. But yeah, so really what it was initially, as I started growing the company, again, I was originally from Kansas City, but I started doing a lot of work in Atlanta. And just because the culture in Atlanta, when you're talking about hip hop, like, you know, hip hop lives in Atlanta, and pretty much, you know, all the influence, well, not all, but a majority of it right now is coming out of the A. And so I had been going back and forth to Atlanta starting around like 2017, really consistently kind of building my network down there, and always with the intention, like, look, I'm about to move down to the A because I got to be here, just because it's a lot more activity, it's a lot more moves happening. It wasn't as, you know, there's a lot more going on there than in KC. So saying all that to say, I was down there building relationships, and I ended up getting accepted into the Techstars program in Atlanta. And so that's where it started. So the Techstars Social Impact Accelerator, working with Barry Givens, he's the managing director there. And once I got in that network, so Techstars, they give you like some investment, but then like in the tech world, it's like a stamp of validation. So it's like an accelerator. So, okay, boom, this is an upcoming tech company. They're backed by Techstars, and it kind of puts you in their network. And the goal is, it's like a 3-month program accelerator where you go through the program, and then you try to get as much shit done as possible, really clean your product market fit, like go to market strategy, et cetera, all these things really jam packed. And then you come out of that with intentions of launching your project if it hasn't already launched, and then also raising some additional capital. So saying that to say, I was in Atlanta initially for the Techstars program, made the move to the A, and then got in a few networks. One was Google for Startups, which they actually just started they just finished up their second application for this year's Google for Startups, Atlanta Founders for Founders of Color, and also women founders. So all founders who have historically been misrepresented or underfunded. And so I got in that program, went through it. And then initially it was just about, hey, I'm in the Google for Startups program. I'm working with some amazing people. You know, I'm learning a lot as far as like how to successfully build a business, because I got like these different modules. And then, you know, unfortunately, you know, God rest his soul, the George Floyd incident happened. And then when that happened, it kind of shined a bigger light of it. It was showing like, hey, you know, dang, this is still happening like in the Black community. So this is happening to, you know, to Black people still, like. And so what that did was it opened up a lot of funding opportunities, you know. And so a lot of these funds who historically weren't funding Black companies, they were like, listen, we're going to start opening up these opportunities. And so one of the opportunities that opened from that was a young Black woman who's very incredible. Her name is Jewel Burke Solomon. She actually founded a company called PickPart, and they got it acquired by Amazon. And she's in Atlanta, and she is the head of the U.S. Google for Startups. So she's like the first Black woman to lead the U.S. Google for Startups. And so she's just good people too. And so anyway, she, working with them, said, okay, we're going to put $5 million aside specifically for Black founders. And so since I was coming through the program, kind of came through the pipeline, and then was fortunate enough to be one of the recipients of $100,000. It was non-dilutive. So that just means like there was no equity in the company. There was no strings attached. They just want to give you the funding to help you grow. And then they also give you full access to the Google team. So I'm working with the Google Play Store people. I'm working with the Google Cloud program, et cetera. So I got complete full access. And so that's how we kind of got our foot in the door there. And that was, again, just picking up momentum. So it's like, okay, with Techstars, Google for Startups, we're raising capital. The product is live, like our app is live, but it's still kind of in a beta. We're going to officially launch this spring. So just kind of, chipping away at the block to get this thing off the ground. And like I said, become an urban Disney. That's the ultimate goal.
Man, it sounds like you're taking all the right steps to build not only just launch a product, but build a sustainable product that's going to be there for a long time.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we hope we're doing. There's a lot of trial and error, right? So a lot of the thing is, it's like the entrepreneurship game is just putting yourself out there, and now I've been just going. And this year, my personal professional goal is just to go smarter and go more strategic, because I've been getting a lot done. We've been kicking down some doors, but now we just want to be more efficient.
That's exactly what Chris and I were talking about last night. Is being more efficient, man. It utilizing that time better, man. But you're right. The entrepreneur game is team no sleep. It's literally every day. We root for you, man. I mean, honestly, for our listeners, man, 100%. Pay attention to Roy Scott and their whole squad. I can see it. I ain't gonna say I'm a visionary or anything, but they're gonna kill the game, man. Just to switch it up a little bit. I saw you was in our city, man. You were in Vegas recently, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We always ask our listeners, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we always ask our listeners, favorite restaurant in Vegas?
We went to a spot. It was hell of expensive too. Me and my wife were staying at right in the. It has a Hattie B's in there.
Hattie B's in there. Which one is that, Chris? I can't even.
Hattie B's. Have y'all had Hattie B's yet?
I ain't that. I ain't heard that.
You get rattling off all of them. Cosmopolitan. There's a ton of them out there.
The Cosmo.
It's Cosmo. Okay, yeah.
Cosmo has the best restaurants in Vegas. I'll put that out there. Like they get all the food.
The Cosmo was fire. So it was it was a steak. It was called B.
STK probably.
STK.
STK. We didn't have people shout them out, man. That's a good restaurant, man. You did good, man, with wifey, because that's a good spot.
I know. Yeah, it was our anniversary, so we went ahead and just splurged it up a little bit. But STK was fire. But if you go to the, because we didn't know, we were just kind of exploring. If you go to Cosmo, if you haven't had it yet, go get Hattie B's, bro. So Hattie B's is like it's a Nashville thing. It's Nashville hot chicken. I mean,
that must be new. I was just at Cosmo too. That must have just popped up, because I was literally just at Cosmo with my wife, and I ain't see that up there, so I got to check that out.
Yeah, we just
Hattie B's hot chicken.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out. You put two on the map. I know STK, but I haven't heard that Hattie B's, so that's good.
And Hattie B's is fire. So they had one. They got one here in Atlanta. And
okay.
So that's how I learned about it, because my business partner Wes, he put me up on it, because it's originally a Nashville thing.
Okay.
It's far though. So
you put us on, man. We embarrassed because we didn't know about it. So that's I know it's good, because Atlanta got some good food, because I've been to Atlanta before. So that's a good plug. So what's next on the radar, man? 2021. What are you trying to accomplish this year? I know you said spring. You guys want to, in the beta testing. Kind of what would be the vision this year if everything worked out right?
Yeah, so this year is the year really to start scaling our company up. So really start onboarding some more paid users, because right now we've been having schools that have been paying for us, but we kind of switched our business model to a direct to consumer, where we're going directly to parents, directly to teachers. And so, like I said, the app is live now, but the full launch app is going to launch in around springtime. But actually coming up, one thing I'm going to send you the link to also is you may have not heard of a show called Meet the Drapers, but Meet the Drapers is like the Silicon Valley version of Shark Tank. And so
I never heard that.
And so they get a couple million viewers on their stuff. So our episode is actually going to air on February 20th.
Word.
So we're getting prepared to air on that. And then also we're launching our Republic campaign. I don't know. Are you all familiar with Republic?
Republic, what is, I heard of Republic. What is that?
Yeah, so Republic, it's like a crowdfunding, but but it's specifically for like startups. So for example, if you go on there and you see a company you're interested in, you can like invest as little as $100 or as much as $100,000, but you actually it converts to shares in the company. So it's just like if you so it's almost like buying stock on an early end. Like if you see a company who you think got a good opportunity, you love the product what they're doing, like you can invest as little as $100 and it converts to shares in that company. So our Republic campaign is getting prepared to launch. We have a goal of hitting $1 million on that, and so we're trying to get as much traffic as possible to really run the numbers up on that. So launch the program. We just brought on two really solid brothers who are strong, like in the marketing, the PR game, and also like connecting with like the social influencers and stuff like that. So just really getting the brand awareness up, launching the product, and hit 25,000 paid. Once we hit 25,000 paid parents, which is our goal for this year, that will put us at $1 million in revenue. And so that's our goal for this year. I think we can do that and then some, but it's gonna be a challenging road to get there. But that's our goals for this year, man, is to take this thing to the next level and like I said, run these numbers up.
That's what's up, man.
We
root for you.
We believe in the product. They were rooting for you as well.
Yeah, man, we root for you, man. We love having people on the platform like yourself, man, that are just really moving the culture forward and not just impacting Vegas, man, but just impacting the country and the world, man. And that's what you do, man. That's why I reached out. So it's excited to have you on, man. And then if people wanted to reach out to you, man, what are your social handles, man, for obviously Healthy Hip Hop and yourself, and how people can connect with you?
Yeah, so it's just on Instagram and like Facebook and even Twitter. It's all just Roy Scott .ceo. So just royscott.ceo, and then Healthy Hip Hop just flat out on all the platforms as well. Yeah, so all our information is right there. I'm on LinkedIn and all that too, just Roy Scott on LinkedIn. So yeah, you can reach out, direct message me. I'm open book. I love to connect with folks, man, and just keep making relationships like this. This is what it's about for me, just connecting with people. And that's what it is for real.
No, Roy, we appreciate you, man. I'm glad we were able to make this happen, man. And again, man, we root for you, man. And then it's gonna be a big year for y'all, man. So just want to plug you, and then you'll be able to see us at thevegascircle.com and definitely make sure to subscribe. So appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate it, Roy.